Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of DiZruption. I'm your host, Tiwatope, and my co-host Joshua is with me in the studio. Today's
Hello,
episode
everyone.
is special because it's the grand finale of season 1, Big Ten. I'm excited about it. Over the past 9 episodes, we have explored AI's impact on everything from psychology, journalism, and creative writing to law, graphic design, and programming. And now we're closing out the season with one of the most practical topics, 10x productivity with AI. A guy. I'm taking that again. 10x productivity with AI. A guy.
That's right, Tiwatope. The finale deserves brilliance. Joining us today are three incredible individuals. Victor Odulate, who is not a stranger to the show. Ayodotun Ogunmodede, that's a fresh person we have on set today. And Akinwale Aremu. Akinwale Aremu, thank you all for joining us today. It's nice to have you here.
Yeah, thank you all for making out the time to be with us. And to make this interesting, we're wrapping up season 1 with the energy of our live audience. We've got 5 members here asking questions along the way. Everyone, let's give them a round of applause. So yes, please, if you are part of the audience, give yourself a round of applause for making it here today. Please unmute your mic and give yourself a round of applause wherever you are. All right.
Let us drive and dive in. I'm really excited for this episode right now. The first person we have on the hot seat come and discuss and converse with us today is Victor Odulate. Tiwatope is going to read his bio. He's not a stranger to the show, like I mentioned earlier. Close friend of Tiwatope and the DiZruption podcast.
Victor has been instrumental in supporting some of the episodes that we have on DiZruption. Really great guy. Victor is a lawyer with interest in sport law, IP, and tech law. He is a certified project manager and public speaker with expertise in AI governance and productivity strategies. He's passionate about how technology reshapes the way we work and live. Victor, a word from you before we dive into the questions?
Good day, everyone. It's nice to be here. Let's make magic together.
All right. First question, Victor. How do you personally define productivity? And how has AI changed the way you think about it?
Productivity for me simply has to do with getting things done. That's the simplest and most bare bones way I can define it. As long as you're making progress, you're good, you are productive. Remember, progress, not perfection. So progress for me determines productivity. And how has AI changed the way I think about productivity? AI can, for me, take over certain entire tasks, and in some other areas, help me prepare for other tasks. If I have a certain task that I know AI cannot take over, it can at least help me prepare for that task. It could help me, clean up data, spot patterns before I then go on to do the heavy lifting. Right. So AI could keep it interesting for you by doing the things you don't really want to do, while I would have the oversight, be the human in the loop, as they call it in the industry.
All right, Victor, thank you very much for that response. Can you share some specific stories with us where AI has helped you and your team, like in a project, get 10 times more done in less time?
All right. I would have to look at a number of engagements I've had. When it comes to teams, I've shared some of these stories already on DiZruption. I shared one with a final written address for a mock trial on the law episode. Shared a few other stories.
Episode 6.
Shared a few other stories on the creative writing episode as well. But let me see if I can find another. For me, one thing I use it to find a lot of the time is sources. Recently, I was working on a particular study. Nothing too crazy. I just wanted to know more. I was trying to find connections between things. And the subject matter was SDG 16 of the United Nations, which has to do with peace, justice, and strong institutions. So prior to that, I had, come across the work of people like Nobel laureates like Asimoglu and James Robinson, that wrote Why Nations Fail. And they were talking about how institutions oftentimes are the reason behind a nation succeeding or failing. With many examples, I really recommend you check it out, either the actual book or you look for summaries on YouTube. Or better still, there is a TEDx talk from 2014 by James Robinson himself, Professor James Robinson of the MIT, where he talked about it in Greece, I believe. So that really helps. It's 18 minutes long. And I was trying to harmonize all these things together. Eventually, I found another work from other Nobel laureates like Professor Douglas North from the 1993 Nobel Prize for Economics. And I was beginning to see patterns, but I wasn't able to clarify everything in my head. So what I did was to dump the context I knew and use the deep research feature on ChatGPT, for example. I used the deep research feature to send it on an errand. Go out there and find as many sources as you can find on this particular topic or using all this context. They asked me a few other questions and then it got to work. And for the next 5 to 10 minutes, it was finding results for me, getting me sources I can use, giving me more context and connections between the SDG itself and the work of some of these great academics. And at the end of the day, it ended up taking about 5-6 minutes, and I was able to have a walk, take a glass of water, and what have you. And it was able to cross-check over 20 sources, 20 concrete sources, about 71 searches, over about 6 minutes. So if I was to do that, it wouldn't take me 6 minutes. It would have taken me possibly a whole day, right? So in doing that, I was able to narrow down the things I really needed to check and have everything I needed in a singular deep research report.
Awesome. That is
Now you know.
Yes.
Now you know.
Yes.
That leads us to the next question. You said you used a research function, and in the process you gave ChatGPT specific instructions. Okay, I want you to do this, look at certain areas, pinpoint this, do that. So that brings us to prompting. I remember when LLMs became more in fashion because of ChatGPT post 2022. There was a time when the hottest jobs at the time was prompt engineering. You hear everybody say, "Oh, then prompt engineering, people are making huge bucks off it." But I don't think the hype is there anymore as it once was. But still, prompt engineering is something that people should know. So, Victor, what does it take to have a good prompt? And could you also explore prompting techniques?
Thank you. I'll try to take it from the top, and just in case we have someone that is not particularly AI obsessed like me listening to the podcast. So we start from what a prompt is, right? A prompt essentially is any input you provide, right, in order to get a specific output from AI or generative AI, right, specifically. Could be any of the tools you are familiar with, could be ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, and the many others, right? It can also be a series of instructions towards the same goal. So a prompt doesn't necessarily mean just one message, it could be a series of messages. And that's where you get into some more in-depth techniques like chain of thought prompting and the likes, or prompt chaining. So this is what a lot of people do. But in the industry, it is called naive prompting. And it is when you send in a prompt that is a little bit too simple, right? It has just the simplest form without any context or structure, that is lacking in detail. Almost like you expect it to read your mind somewhat. So for example, if you say it should provide you a story, a very simple example, a story of think of the usual stories we see during like Christmas times, or usual movies we see during Christmas times, where a big shot businesswoman comes back to her hometown and falls in love with someone, and then discovers that love is stronger than money, for example, right? If you were to say big businesswoman finds love in the hometown, and that's your entire prompt,
It sounds like a
it will give you
Nollywood
something
classic.
very, very. Yeah, it is a classic. We see these things every year. It is a classic. I mean, I have a movie on my laptop right now titled The Last Train to Christmas. But anyway, it's to give you something generic, something that doesn't really have much nuance to it, and that's naive prompting in a nutshell, where you don't provide enough context, structure, or detail, right? So when we now look at that, we now get to the question: what exactly are the building blocks of a good prompt? Here, I would keep it simple, somewhat. There are 4 major building blocks. The first one is instructions. The second one is context. And then you have input data and then output indicator or indicators as the case may be. So instructions is very simple. These are the distinct guidelines for the task you want to execute, right? So do this in this fashion or do this essentially. It could be something like you ask it to answer a question. That's a direct instruction telling it to answer what year was oil discovered in Nigeria, to give you 1950 something, can't quite remember, but that's a direct instruction.
1956.
Right. Scholar. One day I'll be like you.
This guy only why me.
Right. So context, right, is the second one, and that's where you establish background, and it helps you with providing or generating a relevant answer. For example, let's say you wanted to write on the discovery of oil in Nigeria. Add context like oil has been seen over the years to be a source of misery for a lot of countries. Some people call it the Dutch disease. And several nations over the course of the 20th century discovered oil. And initially were jubilant about it, but it became a source of their misery. In the case of Nigeria, oil was also discovered, yada, yada, yada. That's context, right? And it's going to ensure that whatever it gives you back is something that's going to be relevant to exactly what you want, right? Then the third one is input data. This is just additional information that could either be a reference or an additional data set, maybe a data set you wanted to evaluate in making this decision or in carrying out the task. So for example, you could provide, let's say, some articles of people talking about Nigeria's oil generation, right, or the oil generation numbers. That is going to be the additional data you provide. And lastly, you have the output indicator. So this is where you specify the benchmarks for assessing the output. So you tell it what you'll be judging the output on. So it could be something like, I want 500 words written in this style. That's where you can say, I want it to be written in the style of an academic paper or an academic article, right? Using this particular referencing style and what have you. It is an output indicator. You specify exactly how you want the instruction to be carried out and how you want it to be presented, right? And then we now get to prompt engineering, which simply is the process of designing more effective prompts, right? Because you could have a prompt at the beginning, but it doesn't mean that that's the best you can get. And there are some steps that you need to follow. The very first thing you need to do is know what you want. Define your goal. The goal of prompting AI in the first place. Then that's when you now craft your initial prompt, which could be as simple or as complex as you desire. But that's not the end. A lot of people stop there and just take whatever they get. After you craft the prompt, you have to test it to see if it works, if it gets what you want. And of course, when you test a prompt, you get an output. So your own is to analyze the output and see if it is missing anything that you overlooked. Because sometimes you make a prompt, and after making that prompt, the artificial intelligence will meet out on something that is so obvious, or something that you thought would have been obvious for it to have included. So that's where you now go back to refine your prompt after analyzing the output. You refine your prompt to include that thing that that was missing, for example, and then you iterate the last three. You test, you analyze, you refine. You test, you analyze, you refine until you get to the answer or the particular output you desire. Then there are just four domains that are like best practices, right? If you don't live with anything, live with these four things. 1, prompt with clarity. Use clear language and simple terms. You don't need to show off to AI. Just use simple, understandable terms. Second one is provide enough context, right? Lay enough background. I've mentioned it on previous podcast episodes that sometimes my prompts are half a page long, right? Just so that I can get better output. The third one is be precise, precision. Precision is about providing specific things. So that's the difference between saying, define supply and demand as a prompt and, saying, define the relationship between supply and demand, talking about how they affect the price of currencies between multiple countries, looking at the Naira that has been in free fall for multiple years now as a case study. You see that's precision. You narrowed it down to exactly what you wanted to talk about, right? Then the fourth one is role. Give the chatbot or the generative AI a role, right? Because, for example, if you're taking a project, if you're working on a project, let's say it is a transport project, you want to lay down railway from Lagos to Okitipupa, for example.
You and this Okitipupa.
The way a lawyer...
By the way, shout out to everyone from Okitipupa and Inondo. In case you ever listen to this podcast.
Including my maternal grandmother.
Oh, now I get it.
Yes. So the reason why a role is important is if, for example, you are laying such a railway, the way a lawyer will look at it will be different from the way someone that is ensuring quality assurance will look at it, which will be different from the way a financier will look at it. Same thing with a surveyor. You get the idea. Different perspectives on the exact same topic. So, for example, if we're talking about an AI product, you might be focused on, how do we develop this product, right?
Yeah.
What do the devs have to do? Meanwhile, I'll be looking at, things like data privacy, data protection, the more legal angle to it. But we're talking about the same tech product. So that's why it's important for a role to be assigned to the AI, just so that it can assume that persona and give you the most relevant perspective possible, and not just a generic one.
And speaking on that persona, like giving AI a role, I've actually tried it before. Like there was like a couple of projects I had to work on. One in particular was for a course I was taking at the time, and they gave us a capstone project, and I was lost. I was like, where on earth do I begin? So I went over to Gemini and I told Gemini, take on the persona of this with X years of experience, people has worked in, and I listed names of some companies like related to the roles that I had in mind. And that weekend, it was me and AI. And I won't like, I had one of the best times, like that weekend. Because as I was giving it the questions that, I want to do this, poke the idea. Is this a good idea to go? Is this idea viable? Can I run with this? It would go over my ideas and it will show me the loopholes there. That, if you do this, it might work. But I want you to be aware of this. And I say that defining that rule for AI really, really helped. It was really, really helpful.
Yeah, I've been there as well. One time, when I was also working on a course, right? When I was taking my Google Project Management certificates, it's 6 courses long. So right from the jump, because I know what I want. Right from the jump, I already assigned it to be, somewhat like a trainer for me to take on that role of a trainer. So anytime I ran into a stumbling block or I didn't quite get something, I would go to that particular chat. And then, since it's already taken on the persona, of course, anytime I am stuck in anything relating to tech, I'll just tell it to assume the position of a person that works in Google and has been doing so for 20 years. It's a cheat. It's a cheat code. It just works. And I was able to put me through. And yours was a weekend. Mine was like 6 weeks. And the same thing happens because I have several of those. I mean, there was one I was using where I just used it to check for legal authorities while I was in law school, and then cross-reference with the hard copy because it's easier that way. At least we know that if it's wrong, we might, check at a later time. And there was another time where it was a writing assistant, like I mentioned in I think episode 5.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course there is the NGX assistant as well.
Yeah. Wolf of Wall Street. By the way, for those who don't know, Victor is the wolf of NGX.
Oh no.
So yeah.
Mr. Sunu, please.
Hey,
so yeah, it just helps.
We are not advising you to buy stocks here, please. We don't do that here.
Please, I beg of you.
We did not advise you people to buy stocks.
Financial advice.
That's calm. Not financial advice, please. Don't go and use AI and say you analyze stock and
do your own research
because of us. We're not there. Okay. They're very amazing stuff. So apart from tools like ChatGPT, what surprising AI tools or applications do you recommend for boosting productivity?
There is quite a number of them, but I'll talk about the one I use the most. And it's probably going to be mentioned again multiple times on this show. It's Notebook LM, obviously. It's just so good.
Yes, it is.
It is so good. I mentioned it, I think, on episode 5 as well, that to me, it was the best tech product or AI product specifically from 2024 because it was something that nobody was working on, right? We saw people, or at least to this scale, everybody was, just creating the run of the mill chatbots and paying tons and tons to buy graphic cards just so that they can train more models and everything. But they decided, and they decided instead to. I mean, Nvidia is, like you said, they're still cashing out. I think their market cap is around $4 trillion at the moment, somewhere around there. It's ridiculous, But it's just really good because, for example, one of the things I've used it for in the past was after writing a collection of poems, right, I uploaded it to Notebook LM to create an audio overview. And that helps me in one way more than others. It helps me to get a direct feedback on how somebody that is not me will interpret it. Right. So it was just that. I uploaded that book or that collection and I got immediate feedback. They are probably going to talk about more of the features, but it's just really helpful to be able to upload PDFs, documents, paste text, links to websites or even YouTube videos, right, with their transcripts. And you just get the power of Gemini, but specifically on the sources you have provided. And recently, most people don't know that even beyond the audio overview that people love already, there is now a video overview as well. And the video overview will also be based on what you've provided. So it's just really, really good using this particular product. And of course, they have a mobile application as well. Then for other things, it's more like AI has been embedded into multiple apps that people already use, right? Be it the direct OS of your phone to what have you, right? It's just a thing of AI is creeping into every space, and usually, if I'm being honest, I think there is, if I remember correctly, one of the speakers is going to talk on specific products. So I'll perhaps leave it to him, specific AI tools. But I'll just leave it at Notebook LM and a general chatbot of your choice. Could be ChatGPT, could be Gemini, and could be Claude, for example.
All right. Thank you for that, Prof. Thank you. Moving on to the next question. How can individuals or companies actually measure whether AI is improving productivity, not just adding more tools? There is one statistic that says that, I can't remember the percentage now, but they said most AI products companies try to produce, it fails. So if the AI tool is failing, that means they are not doing what they are meant to do. For example, now, I think there was one company that tried to use AI to replace, it's customer support? They did. But after doing so, they realized that they made a mistake and they had to reach out to their staff and say, "Oh, come back. Did you remember that report?" I can't remember what company it was.
I can't quite remember that, but I know it's been a mixed bag so far. It's been a mixed bag so far for many companies. For some, it has been more successful than others. For example, I've been playing Clash of Clans off and on for 6 years now. And I remember when my account got hacked. Before I was transferred to a human being to review my case, I was talking with AI. Of course, it was a rule-based AI, so it wasn't like a full large language model, but it was still AI. And eventually, there are a lot of people that AI is enough to help. And that's kind of the point of AI, not necessarily to replace entirely, but to ensure that, one, time of human beings remain even more valuable, right? Because, for example, the problems that AI will not really be able to solve directly, you still need humans for them, making them even more valuable. And just more efficient. It's time saving. Because it's not every problem that's created equal. And I was able to eventually get my accounts, but I needed to be transferred to a human being at the end of the day. It didn't mean that the AI was redundant, but it was a thing of, for my specific situation, AI deemed it necessary for a human being to take over. Right. And to answer the question on how do you measure, I'm sorry, I'm going to tap into project management again.
Okay.
But you simply need to look at the timeline of your workflows before and after AI. And you have to give AI some time, or you have to give your team some time to adjust to using AI. It is not a thing of, they've been using AI for just 1 week and you expect to see immediate improvement. It doesn't really work that way. There's some things that, you immediately see improvement, but when it's a workflow, there are a lot of kinks you need to work through. So yeah, in essence, that's the easiest way to do it. Measure the quality, because, for example, it could be the same amount of time, but better or worse quality, right? Or it could be same quality or more or less time. Same quality and more or less time, to clarify. So that's how you can assess whether AI is improving your productivity or just adding to your stack.
So to just like sum it up again, you said time savings and quality assessment, the ways that individuals and companies can measure whether AI is actually improving their productivity. Okay. There was a report by the World Economic Forum. I usually cite that report a lot, and I think that was like the Future of Jobs report, where they were talking about numbers created by AI and the net jobs that will be outdated, and they give the net, I think that was like 97 million or something. And every company is trying to incorporate AI into their work. Big organizations, small organizations, everybody wants to get in on AI technology.
Yeah.
For you, in the
AI friends.
AI frenzy, let's put it like that. In the next,
I don't know if you heard of. I don't know if you heard of the country that they have a new minister now. an AI software, Albania. It's on DiZruption's Twitter. I saw it yesterday and I was like this is interesting. Like even politics is not missing out on this revolution.
Okay,
So
that's interesting.
yeah.
So, Victor, for you, in the next 5 to 10 years, how do you see AI reshaping productivity in workplaces globally?
Um, Nobody can predict the future, least of all economists. Anyway, because, for example, look at 5 years ago, as at 2020, even you that is a techie would have struggled to predict where we would be in 2025, where we are seeing people being fooled by not just AI images, but AI videos. Like, I've seen companies downside because of AI. I've seen companies rake in ridiculous amounts of money because of AI. In 5 to 10 years, I see the possibility of people might not like it, but while jobs will be created, for the large part, it wouldn't be the same people that will be displaced that the jobs will be created for. So yes, jobs will be created in the tens of millions probably. And at the same time, jobs will be outdated. But the same people might not be able to work the new jobs. I'll give you an example. In the past, the slang was just learn coding. But that's difficult to tell somebody that used to work in a General Motors, on a General Motors assembly line, to all of a sudden learn coding at the age of 45, for example, right? It's similar to, people that are in areas or in fields that are at risk of AI, in quotes, encroachment, for them to just move into becoming NLP engineers, for example, or machine learning engineers, right? But jobs will be created for sure, but it's more like the next generation will step into a new labor market as opposed to people just shuffling around. Some will make that jump, but not everybody will. So I see AI gaining even more ground when it comes to its power, right? What it can do and how many people use it. But at the same time, I don't see it being as fast as people think, where we would be. Just like people thought we'll have flying cars by now.
That's an interesting take. Thank you, Victor. All right, so let's cover the last questions for this section so that we move to section 2. What risks should people be aware of when integrating AI into their daily productivity? There are concerns around privacy, ethics, over-reliance.
For those risks, there are a few things I will look through. Privacy is a very big one. Data is gold in the world of AI. It's absolute gold. And there are so many angles to that when it comes to privacy. The first one is that your AI will be used to train models. That is a fact. Except you're using Notebook LM, because Notebook LM specifically doesn't do that. But Gemini, ChatGPT, they do, right? Secondly, for somewhere like ChatGPT specifically, based on the fact that there are several cases in courts ongoing, the things you type into ChatGPT can be requested by the court. And I'm telling you this as a legal professional. If you are using ChatGPT as your personal diary or anything of that sort, no judgment, but I need to tell you that it is not private. It can be requested by the court if need be. Right. Because even if you are using a temporary chat based on a court ruling from, I think, last year, if I'm not mistaken, OpenAI were demanded to keep every single chat, every single message, every single thing uploaded to ChatGPT for the purpose of the cases ongoing. Right. So bear that in mind. Whatever you put on ChatGPT stays on ChatGPT, even if it's a temporary chat. Then ethics, things like bias come in, right? ChatGPT will have the bias, or sorry, generative AI will have the bias of the data it was trained on. So such bias might influence your results, might influence your outcomes, your outputs, whatever you're working on. So it's always important to check that, right? Because there is the popular case with Amazon where AI was tasked with vetting CVs for the purpose of hiring, and as a result, women were marginalized because they were women. All majority of people that were denied employment happened to be women, based on the fact that the data that was fed into that model was data that was biased against women. Right. So these are things you should watch out for. And of course, AI hallucinates. And the major issue about hallucinations from AI is that it doesn't just hallucinate in ways that are totally unreasonable. Yes, that happens sometimes, but majority of the time, it has what can be called plausible looking hallucinations. So it is not correct, but it looks like it could be correct. And that happens all the time. Yes, it's reducing as they keep progressing. I mean, GPT-3 was much worse than 4.0 or O3 or O3 mini that we have nowadays. But they still hallucinate from time to time. So you need to check. Then, of course, over-reliance is another thing that you mentioned. It can be scary. It can be scary, but there's that need for balance. There's that need for balance for you to still use your brain for a few things, a thing or two. If you use AI, it's fine, but don't surrender your critical thinking to AI. And it might be funny because someone might listen to that and ask, Grok, is that true? So that I don't know what to tell you.
Twitter people.
I don't know what to tell you.
At Grok. Man, it's crazy. And it goes back to something that the guest speaker on episode 9 said. Episode 9 focused on psychology, mental health, relationships, and AI's impact. And the speaker cited a worry about human beings and the decline in higher level reasoning. That the moment we hand over our what makes us humans is our ability to reason at a different level, at a higher level compared to other animals, other species. And she said that the moment we release that to AI, what is left of a human? So she actually cited a worry around that. So yes, if you are listening to this,
if I can jump in,
yeah,
if I can jump in right here,
yeah,
that reminded me of something I came across a few weeks ago. The first ever study looking at the effect of AI on the human brain was done by, I believe, MIT in the last few months. And it's not looking good, Brev.
It's not.
Essentially,
How
from
scary
the
does it
very
look?
first, it's worrying because that's the very first study. I mean, it's nowhere near academic consensus or scientific consensus yet. But what it shows right now is that there is noticeable, based on the sample size that was used and based on the subjects that were used, there is noticeable, observable difference in cognitive ability between those reliant on AI and those that are not. Right. And it is not within margin of error, like it is significant from a statistical point of view, right? From an academic point of view. So that might be something to keep your mind on, where yes, you can use AI, you can leverage AI, as we say, in order to get work done, but don't rely on AI to get work done.
Thank you very much for that, Victor. And let's close out this section, which leads me to the last question. No, sorry, we still actually have 2 more questions, my bad. But second to the last question. What is the biggest misconception people have about AI and productivity that you would like to debunk?
That's quite the question. Um, Now I'm wondering how I approach this. One misconception people often have is that AI makes work substandard, in the sense that as long as AI is involved in a process, it cannot be as good as if the person did it themselves. And that is simply not true, because AI is a
Sorry,
tool.
allow me to just like cut you short. There usually it reminds me of this argument, particularly in when it comes to writing. You hear people about hyphen that, oh, once you see the hyphen,
Oh,
that
MDAT.
means it's substandard. You know, a couple of
Yeah,
weeks ago I was
the
on
MDAT.
X and I was seeing people having back and forth about the hyphen. Some people said, oh, you people just don't know how to write. Others said that, oh,
Yes,
AI
I
just
agree with
uses
them.
it.
The thing is, where people just seem to falter in that sense, where they get stuck, is the fact that, one, AI was trained on human data, not on data from Proxima Centauri A, right? Not data from Neptune or Pluto. Human beings and human writings is what was used to train AI, right? So AI is only right, it's garbage in, garbage out. It is based on essentially all the data publicly, in fact, even privately available data, all of it on the internet in history, brought together, providing how AI writes or defining how AI writes. So you hear people say, oh, the M dash, as though we're not using M dashes right from like secondary school, some of us, right? If anything, I've
Remember,
started
M
using the M
dashes,
dash
not
even more.
hyphens.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I mean, I've started using the M dash even more, because if you actually understand what the M dash is used for, it really helps to use it, right? Some will say, oh, the rule of three, that you're listing three things. That sounds robotic. There is a reason why these things exist. You know, if you were to go back in time, your English teachers would tell you that, oh, these are the things that bring color to your writing, color to your speech, right? And as a speaker and writer, it saddens me to see people say that things like this, that add flair, that add color, that add sparkle, that's the rule of three, to your writing and speech, that they are called robotic. It just makes me sad. But that's the misconception I want to debunk. Using data or using AI does not automatically make something worse off.
Mm, mm. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So I think it comes down to AI is as good as you are.
Yes, as I always say, the more you give AI, the more it gives you. The better you give AI, the better it gives you. And that's where I cannot I cannot overestimate rather, I
Mm,
cannot overstate how important good prompting is.
mm,
While it might not become a full-on job for someone to, be a prompt engineer, it is a handy tool, just like other soft skills exist. It's a nice skill to have that just makes your life easier
mm,
in a lot of ways, either relating to your work or just in your everyday life.
mm, mm. Thank you. And to the last question for this section. To anyone listening who wants to boost their productivity with AI starting today, what's the first step you'd recommend?
The first step I'll recommend is look at what you currently do and ask, what can AI help you with? And if you can't figure that out on your own, ChatGPT is there for you, Gemini is there for you, Grok is there for you. But no matter what you do, I beg, I plead, I implore you, don't use Meta AI. I'm kidding. It's just not as good as the rest. You can actually use it for simple everyday tasks. But please don't use Snapchat AI for anything serious. I beg of you. You'll find what you're looking for. But simply put, if you cannot determine how AI can help, you can always ask AI to guide you on what it can do for you. Because sometimes while using AI, you get to discover that there are use cases that even you yourself have not even thought about at all that AI can actually be helpful with. Right. So, for example, and that's another hack I use when prompting. It's something that can help you if you are just learning how to prompt. You could ask AI or your chatbot to tell you exactly how you should craft your prompt for it to give you the best answer. So, for example, there are two ways to do it. The first one is to say, what would be the best prompt I can impute for you to provide XYZ? Or the second one, which is what I use more often, ask me as many questions as you find relevant towards providing me this particular output. So, for example, if I wanted to come up with a briefing document on a particular topic, that could be it. So, let's say I am an architect, right? Ask me every single question about my workflow in order to help me leverage AI in how I work as an architect. And then it would ask you 5 questions, 3 questions, 10 questions sometimes, depending on how technical your field could be. And that gets you started. And then you can now see whether those things that are suggested hold value to you or don't hold value to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Victor, aka Prof. Thank you. Thank you for all your insights that you have shared with us. And I believe that anyone listening to this would find them very, very useful, and it would help them improve their productivity. Thank you very much, Victor. Is there anyone who has a question to ask? Anyone? All right. I think we're done with this section. This section, we dedicated a part of the show to students, undergraduate students, postgraduate students. So we believe that AI also has ways of enhancing productivity. I'm still a student. I haven't graduated yet. For this section, I have a good friend of mine, Ayodotun Ogunmodede. Ayodotun is an undergrad intern at NNPC Limited. NNPC stands for the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. And he's currently studying at Redeemers University. He's passionate about exploring AI tools and how they can transform learning and improve the quality of work. Ayodotun, do you have a few words to say?
Hello?
Before we jump into the question?
No, nothing else.
All right, Ayodotun, as a student, you spend a major part of your time studying. You are in classes, probably from morning till evening. Then you go back to your hostel. You're trying to catch up on what you did during that day. Dotun, what are your top 5 AI tools that can make studying easier and more effective?
Okay, top 5 tools. So I'm going to categorize it. The first one is for studying and memorization of your work. The second one is for presentation and documentation. The next one is editing those documentation. Then next is referencing. So I'll start with the first one, with studying. You have Notebook LM by Google Labs. As the name implies, is an AI tool for helping students take notes and help them study. In this app, it has 3 different sections in the tab. The first one is for your sources. In these sources, you can add your documents, whether it's voice notes or whatever, let's say class notes. You can add YouTube links to extract information. Then the next one is for your chatting field, where you can ask it questions like set up flashcards, set up little bit of referencing. Just like the periodic table, those first 20 elements. The same way you have those songs like for each of them using the characters. You can also use it to help you memorize scenes with it. Then the last one is the studio option. You can use it to create a podcast. And I think that's the best part of it. You can create a podcast where it interacts with the two characters. And the best part of that is you can also add yourself into it. Just turn on your audio, and it can ask you questions, and you give your own feedback, and it gives feedback to you on what you need to get right. It also has review. It set up questions for you. It's not really in-depth questions, just like surface level. It sets up questions, you give it your answers, and it helps you learn. Then it also has this video parts. The video part is more like a presentation with slides for each section. Then the final part of that is study guide. It creates a mental map for you to be able to learn perfectly. Let's say you have a 253 pages PDF you give into it. It divides it into certain categories, each of it with steps for you to learn perfectly. And I'll say that is the best. This is the best AI tool for any student to use. Notebook LM. So the next is Atlas. Honestly, I don't think any other AI tool can beat Notebook LM. But for Atlas, it focuses more on memorizing your work. It gives you more questions. It gives you flashcards. It gives you quizzes, and it helps with homework. Any homework, even math questions, you can screenshot it or snap it, paste into it. It gives you details on how to solve it. It also has the other feature, just like Notebook LM, with reviewing and summarizing your notes, but it majorly focuses on helping you to assignments. Now we go on to the second category, which is for presentation, which is gamma.app. So gamma.app is an AI assisted content creation tool. It majorly focuses on creating documents for you, presentations, web pages, and even social media content. Honestly, I think this is the best out there. So you can create yours, like just give it information to create it for you, or it uses AI and generates everything for you. So in the AI section, you just give it a topic. It creates a table of content for you to edit yourself to fit your needs. Or you could just give it your PDF and let it just use that as reference. It also creates images that fit each section of your presentation. Honestly, I didn't really go through all the features for creating web pages or social media contents. But for students, it helps you with all your presentation needs. I assure you that.
Wow.
So the next, honestly, like I saw that one, I was like, wow. Oh, but it has a major con. I'll say con, yeah. It's free, actually it's free. But it gives you points when you register. I think 800 points, yes, or 400. So with each presentation you make, it takes out 40 points. So I'll just say you can create 10 for free. But you also have the option of earning points through referrals. Like you refer your friend to the app, it gives you 200 points. So you can use that and create 5 more presentation topics. And you can also pay. And the payment is $8. I'll say that is around like 12K. But it still works actually. It still works.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So the next is for references. This is majorly for anatomy students or anyone in the medical field. Is biodigital, human.biodigital.com. It majorly focuses on the anatomy of a human. It gives you a 3D model, whether it's male, female, child, adults, aged, or someone with disease or allergies. It shows you their parts or anatomy. It does everything from cross-sectioning to full body analysis and full body. So the AI part, I can't really say it's AI, but it has quizzes. So it's in each of the quizzes, I think it has like 3 different ones, but the one I majorly used was identification of parts. So it brings out a model and it just gives a topic or a heading. Find the cross section of the heart. Let me just use that. The cross section of the heart. It has 4 parts. So in the whole body, I think there's a section for you to open up the body yourself. Or you could just open up, let's say, half of the body, for you just see the heart. So you have to pinpoint each of them, then go on to the next step. It continues like that. It corrects you. If you got any wrong, it corrects you. It gives you feedback so that you'll be able to remember each of those parts properly, to remember where they are and how to find them. So finally, this is for your documentations. This one is just for helping you editing your PDFs. Is sterlingpdf.io. This one, I can't say whether it's AI or not, but it was the best I found for helping students edit their PDFs. Because nowadays, editing PDF, you need subscriptions with Adobe Acrobat, WPS, you have to pay. But with this one here, you can edit your PDF in any way. You can add passwords. Surprisingly, you can add passwords, encryption, removing pages individually, adding references to it, and so much more. Even watermarks. You can remove and add watermarks in those PDFs. It really does everything. And when I say everything that you need with editing PDFs, it does everything. So that's all. Those are the 5 AI tools I could find for students.
All right, thank you very much, Dotun. And for our audience, we would definitely get you a compilation of all those sites that Dotun mentioned
Yeah,
and
please do.
include them in the
I think I'll
description
need
for
one
the
for
episode.
myself too. I would.
So yeah, for all of us that are approaching final here, I think we should also take advantage of artificial intelligence, to speed up work and make things much more easier.
Yeah, yes, Dotun. From all you've mentioned, you've given us 5 very, very powerful softwares that can help students
Yeah.
in carrying out their academic duties and all of that. And I mean, looking at the functions you've listed, one from the about the medical, one from the medical line, Atlas, the notebook LLM, the PDF editor is relatively very easy for students to get hooked to these softwares. Advise us now. How can we become less reliant on AI softwares? And how can students develop their own critical thinking skills?
Okay. You need to just think of AI as a guide for you to find solutions to things. Because as we all know, AI isn't always correct or accurate. So we just need to use this as a guide for us to help us with our studies and also cross-referencing. So the best advice I can actually give is, before you give any work to AI, try your best to solve the problem yourself or read through your notes or PDFs. That way, when you see the reviews that AI gives you, you can know which is incorrect. And finally, I would say challenge the AI. I think everything just goes down to AI is not always correct, because you have to challenge the AI for why it gives you certain answers. Because I can remember how during our test, as you all know, AI, we use it. So I read my PDFs. I read before the test. So, and just to be sure, I just used AI to help me with it. So while we're actually solving the questions I'm giving to AI, he gave me something that's like, I read this PDF, I didn't see this, because it just looked wrong to me, totally wrong. So you just need to challenge as to why it chose that as the answer. So I think that's all.
Thank you.
Mm.
Okay, I hope students that
Thank
are
you for
listening
that,
to us
Dotun.
will take your advice.
So to close out on this section, AI obviously is AI can provide students with a lot of benefits, but AI is more like a double-edged sword. It has both the pros and the cons. The risks are also still there alongside the benefits. So, Dotun, what risks should students look out for when using AI tools?
Oh, okay. The risk. One is over reliance. Now, I will say this because, okay, my sister is around. So, I think 2 days ago, she was trying to solve math question, quantitative reasoning. We all know how that was.
That
So
book
she
stressed
was,
my life against.
yeah. So she was trying to solve it. She was trying to get answers to it. So my brother was actually trying to help her. But the moment my brother turned his face, she used her phone, entered ChatGPT, and typed it in.
Oh
Like,
wow.
guy, I was just baffled. But back in my day, we had rough notes,
There
solving
was
it
no
out, if it's
ChatGPT.
correct or not. Guy.
Say it was
So
baffled.
that is first on over reliance. Guy, I was baffled. So the first one, over reliance. As you can see now, this current generation, they are gotten, let's say, used to it. Because now people of older generation, they are trying to adjust towards it, but of people of this generation, they are used to it. So next is privacy or data security, data breach. Because as we all know, AIs are data models from feedbacks of users. There are some AIs that will actually ask you before that we are using your the prompt or your text to train our AI models. So that is one, privacy and data security. Because if someone is able, this company, we don't really know how secure they are. Because we also know that our information get out to other services that which helps with them recommending things for us. So I think if this information actually gets out, it can be used against us, like convincing us to do things. Because like Yahoo now, all those kind scammers, all those things, they can use the information they've gotten from all this to you to
Social
interact with people
engineering.
more fluently. Yes, interacting and scamming and getting information, all that's another risk. Then there's lack of accuracy. Not all information from AI is correct, as you all know. But right now, they are getting more and more advanced that people will actually become more reliant on it, and that's really bad. But all in all, is we should all know that this is an AI. This is the model from user reviews, user interface. So not everything we see on it is correct and reliable, and that's all.
Thank you. I
Thank you,
think another
Dawson.
thing I want to add here is plagiarism. I think that is something that, at
Plagiarism.
least in the academic environment, that is something that is usually it's a hot topic. Whenever you have to submit your project, you hear your lecturer say, "Oh, I'm going to use maybe a software like Turnitin or Grammarly." They'll say, "Oh, we're checking for your level of plagiarism. It must not pass this minimum amount." All those stuff. So I think that's also something that people should be cautious of when using AI, maybe in writing your projects, in preparing presentations, whatever it is.
Yeah, actually, yes. From the AIs I actually listed out for you, like the one for presentations and contents, that gamma.ai, it's references. You just need to
Okay.
choose the type of references you want, whether it's the APA or those ones of like Harvard standards. And then also I think I didn't mention this feature for Notebook LM, is that it only uses information you provided, unless you
Okay.
specified not to. So you know
Okay.
that every information you get from that is from your textbooks, your PDFs, your notes, your documents. Yeah. So referencing nowadays is gotten easier with all this AI, but you shouldn't rely on it. You shouldn't rely on
Yes.
it.
I mean, Victor mentioned it
You
earlier
mentioned something
also.
very interesting.
I
Yeah.
said Victor mentioned something about
Sorry.
referencing to its AI earlier.
Yeah. That was in his use case, how AI helped him out
Yeah.
using AI for the deep research function there. Yeah, and Doctor, you mentioned something interesting, and that is about Notebook LM using only what you give it. And in the next
Yes.
section, we are actually doing something interesting on that. That's why we have Akinwale. Akinwale has been working on a product or on a software product for students that only use the resources given to it to provide feedback and help out. So yeah, The next section is also going to be very, very, very interesting. So, yeah, you guys should still
We
stick
invite you
around for
to
that.
hang around with us. Have we thrown
All
questions to
right.
our audience? Like, do you guys have any questions for Dotun?
Is Yeah, before he leaves, move out of this section. Do you guys have any
Yeah.
questions for Dotun? Please, if you do, you can unmute your mic and ask.
Anyone?
Okay.
All right. I think I have one for Dotun.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
I know Dotun is here for the student section and like student experience with AI resources and all of that. But I want to ask a
Yeah.
question outside the school environment. We're in school to get a
Okay.
degree for qualifications for a job or something like that. So Dotun, is there any way right now artificial intelligence is being actively used? Like you're using artificial intelligence or you've heard of instances where artificial intelligence is being used in skill acquisition, like finding jobs, finding internships online, abroad, all of that. Like right now in 2025.
um, I don't. There's no AI that helps with all that directly.
Yeah.
But what I know of is okay, like ChatGPT is it 4.2 or Gemini that is also that enables them to go online, like do online searches and just compares them and gives you out as his prompt or solution.
Mm.
So what most people do, like what I've seen, there's someone IT with me, that's what he does. He just gives out a prompt like internship available, and he specifies that you should do web searches on it. It brings out all of them, and he tries to bring the most updated ones at that moment, and he gives you the links directly to it. He did something really baffling. He connected it to LinkedIn. I don't know how. I don't know where. He did it that it proves anytime there is, let's say, a new job applications or something connected to his job or whatever. It does that. It brings it out anytime it opens it up,
Mm.
like it pops up. I don't know how he did that, whether he created his own model or not.
Mm.
But for
We're
now,
already
there's not.
getting we're already
But
getting
for
into the
now,
realm of agentic applications and integrations.
yes. That
You
is
see, this is what we are here to learn. I've never heard
it.
of this one before. Yes, please carry on, Dotun.
Okay, yeah. So from what he did, he provided all the information that needed to like going for the job application. He gave his CV to the AI, and it cross references it for which of them was the best job that meets his requirements or meets his standards, or that he shall meet the standards of. So he just brings those ones out specifically for him
Mm.
before any others.
Mm. All
Yes.
right. Thank you. Dotun.
But, yeah.
Thank you, Dotun. I mean, that's
All
one
right.
knowledge gain that I'm holding on to right now, and I will definitely do my due diligence, like checking it out and all of that, and knowing more about it. Yes, Tiwatope, over
Yeah.
to
All
you.
right.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your help with this section. All links to the tools that Dotun mentioned will be compiled and included in the description. Thank you, Dotun.
All right. No
Okay.
problem.
And finally, we are at the last section for this episode. This section, we are interviewing an innovator who has been working on an AI solution for students. Let's get into it. We have Akinwale Aremu, who is a backend engineer with interest in cloud infrastructure and AI. He is also an innovator active in the Redeemers University technology space, that is Runtech space. He focuses on building practical, scalable solutions that harness AI and digital tools to boost productivity and solve real-world problems. Akinwale, welcome to DiZruption.
Hey, thank you, Tiwatope. Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah, so just tell us about you.
Okay, okay, you said most of everything already. Well, I'm a final year student at Redeemers University, computer engineering student at Redeemers University. I'm currently the president of Runtech Space. It's a space for
Big ups.
people to it's a space for people to grow and learn tech skills, and the whole vision of it is just to have students who go out into the real world and are able to, when the opportunities come, they will be ready for the opportunities. Because during my IT, I'm at the second company during at my IT, but I'm doing a course with the company. I've noticed something that most students who come, they don't really know that much, and there's this big skill gap, and it's going to keep growing. And if we do want, more innovation in Nigeria, and you want more people involved in technology and in what's actually going on, so we don't just become consumers alone, but we also create. You need to. It starts from university, exposing people to the right information and having things about it. That's just about run tech space. But for me, I'm a backend engineer. I'm trying to move into the cloud space and network infrastructure. I'm interested mainly in infrastructure and cloud in general, because yeah, because the cloud is just some server sitting somewhere, and yeah, that's pretty interesting to me. And yeah, I tried it during this break to transition into cloud engineering. Wasn't as successful as I as I um as I expected, because yeah, let's just leave it at that. And I'm a machine learning and artificial intelligence enthusiast.
Okay. Okay. Nice. That's incredible stuff that you're doing, Akinwale. Also president of the Redeemers University Technology Space, Frontech Space. Yeah, so Akinwale, you and I, we've discussed in the background about the product that you are building, the problem you are trying to solve. But for the spotlight for our audience, can you describe in detail the problem that you have identified and how you want to solve it?
Well, there's two problems that I identified, that I saw, that actually made me you know made me pursue to solving this
By the
problem.
way,
Number
sorry,
one,
what's the name of the product? So for those who don't
the
know.
name of the product is Perez AI. PEREZZAI.
Sorry, can you take that again?
It's a PEREZ. Yeah, Perez AI. That's what we're calling the tool for now. Okay. The first thing is that LLMs go out of context most times, and in their defense, it's how it has been trained. It's trying to help, and has been trained with external information, and they do go out of context, and you spend extra tokens trying to tell it to stay within the space you want it to be. And another thing is an issue I have. Not everyone might have this issue, but it's the issue of chats. Anytime I reload my chat GPT, it goes into a new chat, and I start from there, and everything piles up, and I'm not able to go back. Because recently I was trying to look for a document that I once uploaded, and I could not get it back from chat GPT. And well, I did not have it on my laptop. I had to go back to reach out to someone to get the document from Kim. And yeah, the issue of context and the issue of chats piling up and not being able to get it. And this is quite funny. So I don't know if it's 200. Okay, I think it was in 300 level. I took a course called operating systems. I'm very sure you've taken the course too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when they ask you types of devices in operating systems, it's not it's not input and output devices that you do have. Anyways, we were given an assignment concerning that, and well, naively, I just went to ChatGPT types of devices, or like clean it to my head, types of devices were input and output devices, and well, it was wrong. So what we decided to solve is we solved the problem with one, the large language stays within context, and number two, our UI solves a problem because now you have everything packed within the documents you uploaded. So it's
Okay.
easy for you to, chat the document, you get summaries for the document. What we,
Okay.
my team and I, we recently added a feature. I didn't show you during when I ran a demo for you. Now you can get flashcards and questions,
Ah,
flashcards
that's
and quizzes
interesting.
from it. Well, yeah, that's what we have so far. That's what the tool is about. Our user interface solves the problem of organization, and it's easier for you to go back and trace the information you've provided to the large language model. It's there,
Mm,
and you can easily access it.
mm. So, organized workspaces, a chatbot that stays within context. That sums up what you guys are building.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we are building. It's quite simple,
That's
but it's something that I
it looks
noticed, and it
simple,
was
I
quite
know.
annoying. So I just decided to do it.
So, what were some of the challenges that you faced in the process of developing this product?
Well, getting started, because most times you do not know where to get started. The one thing that was a bit challenging for us was, at first getting the right frameworks and the right large language models for it, and well, we've not been able to fully solve it because different courses of study would require different level of priority to certain tools. That's something we've not quite able to
Mm,
solve. And another thing is using frameworks, using certain libraries. You would probably not be able to monitor the amount of API calls, but well, primarily the library that we use to build this, you can check the amount of API calls that your each chart is making per time, which is beautiful, but you can't really control it per se. And
I'm sorry. I'm going to need you to like simplify that for those who might not are not like adapted, not so
okay,
familiar with API calls, all this stuff. Yeah.
so these big companies that you have them,
Mm-hmm.
OpenAI, Google,
Mm-hmm.
Meta. Let's just leave it at that. Those companies provide
Mm-hmm.
their large language models are a way for you to build your own applications
Like a
around
rapper.
their yes, like a wrapper around
Okay.
their large language models. And the way you can access it, well, you could download the models and run it locally, but it would use quite a lot of power and resources. But a way you can access them is through APIs, and APIs, that's application programming interface. They allows your software to what you built to communicate with the large language models,
Mm.
and exchange data and share functionality. So that's what an API is in general. So the issue is, these companies, they are not free. Every once in a while, you use up your tokens and you'll have to move to another and move to another. So something we've been able to do is we've been able to leverage on open source models like Mistral, Llama, and your embedding models. We've been able to use Google Gemma for embedding embedding the document. That's embedding it. That's like turning it into numbers and all of that. Yes, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Akinwale. So when will Pirates AI be available for public use?
Well, the goal was to release something before school resumes. That's on the 26th of this month. But I don't know how far. If so, my team and I are moving to our final year, so we're a bit occupied with certain things. But We'll try our best. I would call a roundtable meeting and see if we can launch before the 28th of this month, because certain things have been done already and we just need to move into the new UI that was built. And yeah, the 26th of this month, we should have something that we can put out for public use.
All right. So everyone listening, watch out for Akinwale's Paris AI. You're hitting your screens on the 26th of September. And aside students, can business owners also use this as well?
Okay. One of the things we thought about while building was considering it's being for enterprise use. That's for different organizations that may have a knowledge base, and you could run, you can set it up for them and run locally on their infrastructure, on their, say they have servers, and we could set it up for them to run local within their company's network, which was something we thought about. But I mean, we've not pushed further towards that idea, and I believe it's something that could work. Because I mean, most people would, most companies wouldn't want their information being used to train models again. They would prefer either fine tuning their models or fine tuning their own models to work locally, or to have something that can run within their nation, which is something that I feel in the future, something that most companies would, leverage on. And it's something we talked about, but we've not pushed further for it. And eventually we would push towards that.
Very interesting. That would be interesting to see. Thank you very much, Akinwale, founder of Paris AI. And yeah,
Thank you very much, Akinwale. It's great to have you. We're rooting for you.
Yeah, we are rooting for you. Yeah.
So one thing I just want to add is that these big boys, I'm talking about Google, Grok, and OpenAI. Their plan is to take everyone out of the market. Well, it's possible for you to build something for yourself, but their plan is to be the sole owners of everything. Notebook LM is pretty much free, and not just anyone can build a replica of Notebook LM without incurring so much cost, because they have so much money to throw around. So, and not just anybody has that kind of money to throw around. So, I mean, you want to be number one.
It's really crazy. I remember on the first episode we were talking about how all these companies keep on innovating, keep on pouring billions and billions of dollars to ensure that they maintain market lead in the AI space. Yeah, it's a very tough market. It's a very tough market. But I still believe that there is a way. And yeah, we still see people doing amazing things despite how tough the climate is. Yeah, there are people still raising funds. There are people still selling their startups for billions and billions of dollars. So yeah. And with all that being said, that brings us to the end of season 1. Yes, what an incredible way to close out season 1. We have explored AI and productivity from global, educational, and entrepreneurial perspective, and it's been inspiring. Thank you to all our guests, Victor Odulate, Ayodotun Ogunmodede, and Akinwale Aremu, for joining us in this finale. And of course, to our amazing studio audience. So, season 1 of DiZruption has been an amazing journey, and this is only the beginning. If you have enjoyed this season, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Yeah, just is clapping.
Season 1 is over, innit?
1 is over.
10 episodes of wonder.
Yeah, 10 episodes of wonder. I am so excited. It's been a tough journey, actually. But there were a lot of things that always keep happening. But yeah, we're here. I'm happy that we're here. Also excited about the amazing people that I've had privilege of working with. It's a shout out to everybody. Cheese Sticks, that is Ilario Duadotosho, my producer. Shout out Ashino, that is the graphic designer. I mean, if you've seen all our beautiful posters, Hoppe handles it. A shout out to Joshua as well. Our new, but Joshua was initially had our PR online. So yeah, it was an amazing job. By the way, you should That was his first episode he hosted. Amazing guy, by the way. And also to our friends behind this thing. Appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the privilege of renting in your head. I mean, one of my friends says on this podcast, it's a privilege to rent space in people's head, and it is a privilege to rent space in your head. Thank you very much for that. And on that note, season 2 is coming with even bigger conversations.
Shout out to Tiwatope too.
I beg. Well, shout out to me. It's been nice doing this. No, this is not the ending. No, don't think this is ending. No, this always is the one ending. No, watch out for season 2. Yeah, season 2 is coming with bigger conversations. Watch out for season 2. And when season 2 be out, don't worry. When information is ready, we'll drop that out on our social media channels. By the way, you should follow us on social media on X at DiZruption_AI. And also in the coming weeks, we are looking to expand to other streaming platforms as well, aside from Spotify, so that everyone can actually be blessed through this show. And until then, stay productive, stay curious, and as always, keep disrupting. Thank you. And this is Tiwatope signing out for season 1. Okay.